Okay, this video is going to lead you through how to be successful on your Team Challenge Cube project. This handout has a front and a back, and obviously the front side has got a spot for your team number and your hour. It gives the design brief, goes into detail about the different criteria that we have to follow, and most importantly it talks about how to be successful on the back, labeled 1 through 5, and then a bunch of different subsets, 1A, 1B, 2A, and 2B. If you follow this, and you can write all over this and check steps off, you'll know exactly where you left off on the day before. The very first step that some of you might have already done, but if not, you'll be getting 5 cubes, and each of the cubes will have a 1 by 1 by 7 design. So this is a cube, and that's going to have 7 pieces to it. And some of the problems that some of you might run into, you might not know this, but you want to take anything that's like close in color, for example, light green and dark green, go ahead and swap one of those out so that they're not too close together, because it's hard to color those when we get to one of the steps. Another thing is if you've got the white, swap the white out for another color so that it's easy to color. White is not going to be something that you can color on your one of your steps. When you get down here, you're actually going to be coloring all the different shapes on one of your designs. Next step is we're going to be following through, and the criteria talks about having different shape cubes. So each shape cube will contain 4 to 6 pieces. Well, that means that 7 we're not going to need. So on all these cubes we can take off 1, because we have too many snap cubes on each of these. Go ahead and just snap these all together. And you will not use these in your project. You're only going to put these back together when you're all done so we can have 7 pieces. I know that seems kind of weird, but just put those off to the side. In our guidelines, it actually says that we're going to have a shape cube, which are comprised of a single 4-piece, a single 5-piece, and 3 6-piece cubes. So here's a 6-piece, here's a 6-piece, and a 6-piece. There's our 3 6-piece cubes. We're going to need a 5-piece and a 4-piece. Take your extra cubes and snap them together. We're not going to use this until the project is completely over and we're all done, and we're taking all of our snap cubes and getting them all back into towers again where we can use them in the next class or the next project. At this point, on the back side it says create a 3 by 3 by 1 base layer using 2 shape cubes. Then it has criteria A and B. So it talks about being a single layer, and it needs to be a 4 and a 5 piece. I'm going to show you the most basic that was easy for some students to come up with. There's a 5 piece and there's a 4 piece. And I'm not going to stick them together where they hold together. I want these to come apart so I can push them together and take them apart. That's how we're going to do that on all of our shape cubes. They need to come together and pull apart really easily without having any of them snap together. So I've gone through right now and I've got a 5 piece and a 4 piece. But I'm going to design those with those 2. There's another way that I could do it, just like that. Now the challenging part is going to be taking these 3 other shape cubes, or 3 other tower cubes, and making them into shape cubes of 6 pieces each that create a 3 by 3 by 3 cube. So I'm not going to show you how to do this, but let's say for example I used this one here. This piece won't follow our guidelines because it is a single layer. It needs to be multi-layer. So if you start with something like that, go ahead and change its design. Say, well, we're going to do it like that. So that would be a multi-layer. I'm just going to snap these so that they all snap together. There. And I'll put that on my cube like that. I've got to keep building now. And so now I need to take my other shapes and put these together so that they can end up forming a 3 by 3 by 3 shape cube. Okay, I've created a design that doesn't follow the requirements. I'm just going to show you this real fast. Now you can see how I can take these apart real quick. As I take these apart, there's my base layer, that's a single layer. Here's a multi-layer cube design. Here's a multi-layer cube design. And here's a single layer. So I would have to change my design because that's only a single layer and it won't work. As you keep going through these steps, if you have any questions, just raise your hand and I'll come around and help you out. I'll be taking pictures with my iPad. Please follow through these steps and check them off. If you get to a point where it talks about drawing the 5 shapes and you don't have the piece of paper, please just ask. I'll also have an example of what the answer key looks like. There's an answer key that you're going to be able to create so that you can get your shape cubes back into a 3x3x3 cube. This is how you can make an answer key. This is just an example for the base layer. So if you imagine that's the base layer, it's got that orange U and the green T. What you're going to do is you're going to make 3 9 squares, labeling them 1, 2, and 3, or base, middle, and top. And you're just going to put what colors are in what order. So I'd have the orange, 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 just like that's the orange like that. You'd have to see what it looks like in the second layer and what does the top layer look like, and you just color those in with your crayons.